Okay, we will start soon. In the meantime, today we talk about business modeling. In the meantime, Cass, our housekeeper, has some information to give to the class. In fact, is some information to be asked to some of you. So, Cass, please. The floor is yours.
Yeah.
We are waiting just a few seconds because we need to have the audio today, so we are going to fix with the audio. Please.
Yeah. So I sent most of you an email about some information being missed. Some people haven't replied yet, so excuse me for the pronunciation of this. But if your name is D. Bulbarelli, D. Marconi, D. Martinati, M. Simone, P. Bogdu, and D. Taparelli, please check your spam and email me with the information I asked. If you don't have an email, email me. It's very important for putting you into the battles.
Okay, so write your, I don't know, if these guys do not have your email, I guess not. Just write your email. Can you tell me the name again?
Yeah, they're the ones with the circles.
Non l'hanno presa benissimo,
Chi? Il portiere, però non c'ero per proviamo. So, Bulbarelli, raise your hand, write her an email. Marconi? Any Marconi here? Marconi not present. D. Marconi.
Piano giù.
Martinatti?
Ma io sto già facendo parte di una battle.
Tu sei già parte di una battle.
I dati dovrebbero esserci.
Forse ne manca qualcuno, per cui prova a vedere che tu non abbia già ricevuto una mail da lei e eventualmente le scrivi. Grazie. Simone, M. Simone, I think on this he moved to the other class.
Yeah, moved to the other class.
I think he moved to the other. On this we have an answer. P. Bogdo. Bogdo. No. And Tapparelli. We don't have, I think, any reference of yours. Did you compile the italiano? Tu hai compilato il form online? Però, allora, se poi o ti controlli la mail che lei dovrebbe... Non ti è scritto. Allora manda una mail a lei e così lei ti chiede cosa serve. Si sono arrabbiati?
Ma non è abbastanza, perché nel senso sono pronti di plastica.
Ok, here we are, we can start. Okay, we start. Today we talk about business modeling. This is something that we started, in fact, discussing from the first lesson. So business modeling is a pretty relevant. I think this is a quite interesting type of content that for those of you who will decide to go for a startup, for example, those of you who are going to follow the startup course, which is on the second semester, and is a more hands-on type of course, startupping, or how to make startup. This is an argument that will come out and out and out again. If you even go to an accelerator or an incubator, so those type of organizations that support the creation of startups, I don't know, in Italy there is one which is called H-Farm, it's in Treviso, maybe some of you goes. Another is Lewis and Labs in Rome. There are several, even places like Talent Garden, maybe some of you know, which is also an Italian startup. This type of content is treated almost every 1 or 2 months. All the startups that goes to them, they go and focus on this aspect. So the aspect of business modeling. So there is a definition that is going to come up, but before I would kindly ask you if you have any idea on what a business model could be. So if you have, not a definition, because it's not relevant to have the exact definition, but in your mind, if you have an idea on what a business model is related to a company. Please.
In a business model, you define who are the target clients. So, like if we are a business to business or a business to customers.
Okay.
We define what are the main what are the competitor of the company, and what are the main advantages and also the disadvantages respect to the competitors.
Okay, good.
You define what is your product,
Okay.
what is your vision.
On the product. Okay, good. Other things, or we also ask to others? Okay, for you is enough. All correct aspects of the business modeling. So business modeling is several topics together, let's say, the first concept. It was already saying a lot of them. So customers, so competitors, so what is your product, what is the added value in respect to competitors. Other things that come to your mind about the business model? What could be inside the business model when you analyze a business model? Who of you have any had in the background some course on economics or financial aspect, or what was once long time ago it was Istituzioni di Economia, Economics Institute, or Fundamental of Economics. No, this was not in your bachelor. You did.
Yes.
Okay, that's why you asked. Other people that did such kind of course. Okay, no worries. So business modeling. This is Wikipedia, but it's recognized as the absolute definition of business model. The business model describes how a company, the rationale how an organization, a company, creates, delivers, and captures value. So the three elements that are inside the business modeling analysis, and that's why we call it business modeling or business model analysis, is creating value, delivering to the customer or to the user value, and capturing, which is capturing means how you maintain along the time the value you have. Because maybe you have a best product of the world, which is this chair. We discussed about chairs last time when we were discussing about the organization. But this chair, at a certain point, you find someone, I don't know, in another country, in Asia, who is able to get wood for cheaper price, is able to get workers for a lower wage. Maybe you have also the design of that. So you have also intellectual property on this chair. But after 20 years, the patent expires. So after 20 years, maybe someone, the patent has expired, someone is able to get the same exact product, but much cheaper than you. And so if you want to sell again your product, you don't have the defense, the position to defend that product. So the concept of capturing value means that you should find strategies and ways to keep selling by improving the product, by maintaining the APR, by improving it with more IPR. So the capturing part is quite important. There is some colleague of yours, they were here like 1 hour ago until 20 minutes ago to discuss about the next button, which we are not going to anticipate anything, of course. But there is the confrontation of two companies. One is very, very, old and has a long tradition. The other is much more recent. And so how the old one was able to capture value is something relevant, and that's the business modeling analysis. There is other definition. A business model articulates the logic and provides data and other evidence that demonstrates how a business creates and delivers values to customers. It is not dissimilar to the other one. The focus is more on creation and delivery. Is not considered. It's not fully considered here the concept of capturing, so of maintaining value. In fact, there is an interesting definition which is given from the founder of 500 Startups. 500 Startups is one of the two most important accelerators in the world. The first is called Y Combinator, is in Silicon Valley, and just to say, Airbnb was born from Y Combinator. These 500 startups is the second most famous and most successful. And this guy defined the business model as is very, very, I would say, rude, but how a company makes money. This sometimes works. Sometimes works. If you want to be really short and concise, if you tell the business model or business modeling is to understand how a company makes money, in fact, is a good summary. It's not everything, because making money is not everything, and making money a lot of times is not the business model itself, but is the revenue model of company. So there are different concepts inside business modeling. The revenue model is the way you let your customer pay. So is a subscription model, is the freemium model, that's the revenue model, okay? But the revenue model is only a part of the business model. Still, the revenue model could be conceptualized as the way a company makes money, okay? So, business modeling, you have, this is taken from Open Innovation from Harry Chesbrough, which is one of the most famous author, and this is one of the most famous book on innovation. And there is Milena Stoicheva, Professor Stoicheva, who often mention him. It is some sort of try to sketch out what is business modeling, or what is a business model. You have technical inputs, feasibility, performance. These are measured in the technical domain. And on the other side, economic outputs, value, price, profit. Business modeling could also be applied to not-for-profit, but still also a not-for-profit company at the end of the day has to pay wages. So the unique thing for not-for-profit is that this part is not considered. But so this works for both for-profit and no-profit. But the economic output are the value. So a concept out of technical features. You assemble technical features in order to get an added value. So wood plus workers plus steel, you make a chair. That is the technical input, is wood plus steel plus employees. Economic output, a chair which you can sell at 100 euro. So what is in between these two words? So technical feasibility, technical part, and economic output is the business modeling. So inside business modeling, as we were discussing with your colleague, there is market, there is the value proposition, there is value chain we saw last week, there is cost and profit, value network. Value network is important because they are like partnership that you establish. A company establish partnership with other companies in order to be more successful. Can you tell me an example of a value network that comes to your mind? I have one in mind, but I let you start. But this is a bit tricky. If you think about Amazon is a big company, digital company, very modern company. What would be a partnership that they look forward to have? What does Amazon do?
They bought recently a truck company in the USA.
A truck company.
A logistics company.
Logistics company. Exactly, that is the point. Amazon does a lot of logistics. So for them, a natural way of building a value network is to partner with Poste Italiane. Now, Amazon, if you want to have a free delivery of your product, if you are deciding to go to an office of Poste Italiane, you don't pay the delivery. Okay? It's free delivery. So that is a partnership. That is a value network that, for example, Amazon decided to have because they move millions of tons of products every day, of goods every day. And then you have the competitive stuff. So there are several aspects that you have to consider in order to analyze the business model. But this business model is very relevant. Why do you think that in every accelerator which is supporting startups, they do business modeling? Why do you think it's so important in the business, in the ecosystems of startups, to have business modeling?
Because you have to prove to investors that your idea is profitable.
Exactly. Before that, before proving to investors,
To prove to yourself, to your
Exactly.
company.
you have to prove it yourself and to the accelerator. The accelerator does not take everyone. They don't say, okay, all of you, you have a nice idea, okay, come, enter. They don't do like that. They do selections. They try to check if your idea is valuable or not. I want to invent a new social network. Okay, there are a few. Some of them are very successful. So, what is the added value of your social network? Okay, so that's the example. So the business model tells you and the people in front of you, being them accelerators or incubators or being them investors, that your idea is valuable, and so they give you hospitality in their open space, in their co-working space, or they give you money to invest in your startup. That's why business modeling is so relevant. Okay, let's see some different business models. This is in gaming, which is it? Same market, games, video games. Any of you that would like to explain to me the business model of the first, second, third, fourth, fifth business model? These are 5 business models different from each other. Same market. Okay? The market is the one of leisure, of entertainment, game entertainment. Anyone who wants to try this experience of some ideas?
I think that the more interactivity you added to the product, that to enroll the customer in your product, the more maybe like purchasement or selling your product will be.
Exactly. So there is also an evolution on the interaction with the customer, which here I think is quite relevant. And your colleague said exactly that. So, also this is a matter of technology you have in your mind, possibilities, hardware, software, tools that are available. When this was in place, this was not there, of course. So there are a few years to go above this. This is a journey. Okay, here. What did you do to play here?
You have to go to a certain place.
You have to go to a certain place. So, the owner of this stuff has to rent, or he does at his own, most probably not, or he has to rent a video games area, or a room, or whatever. And people move, people exit home, and they need to walk or take the car and go to play. So they play, they put the coin, and they start playing. They put the coin inside and they start playing. And they play for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. So, first business model. You customer come to my place and I let you have a lot of fun. Okay? Second, what happened here?
You can play at your place.
You can play at your place or while moving. In fact, here, the step is that you have the freedom to play wherever you want. There was some other games that was like the handheld games were existing before this. This was more successful first in Italy. So you can play while you are playing. And you can. It's not necessary that you come to my room, to the video game room, video game premise. Then another step. The other step is, okay, you can stay home, relax, sit on your sofa, on your couch, and play. Best games are at your disposal at home. You don't need to. You pay quite a few, but you have like super type of games. You don't need to go to the video game shop, but you come, you stay home, and you have the best games of the world. Expensive, quite expensive. The step of the change of business model from here to here is a bit more subtle.
Movement. You have to move.
Exactly.
Use more your body.
More your money, but also which type of what is the target customer of this product?
For the win, more young people here, buy PlayStation.
Serious players.
Yes.
So serious players, less serious players. Okay? So this is families. Oh, let's play tennis today. You and your kid, you play tennis in the sofa room. At home, still at home. Okay? So this is a simplification of this model. Super expert, you need to have a bachelor degree or a master degree to use this. On the other way, it is simply to use a joystick and move it. Okay? So it's a strong advance in the business model. Also the customers are very different. Customers are very relevant. You can have niche or you can have like wider audience. Then next step is another, let's say, step forward. Not too big, but what's the change from here to here?
You don't need any more a terminal to play. You can use your own body. Yeah.
Exactly. You simplify the interaction, the user interface. So instead of having something in your hand, a joystick, you can free your hands and play just moving your body. Okay? Also here, these can be used from pros, less pros. The audience here is a bit wider, so it's more from family to more professional type of gamer. So you are able to make everyone happy, sort of. So you see the evolution here is nice to understand. Also, same domain. There is a change in the way you make money. Video games in the video game premises or in the video game shop. You go to the old video game room, the one that was rented at the beginning of our journey. You go there, you insert the coin, and you play once. This happens still with the calciobalilla. How do you say calciobalilla in English?
Table soccer, I guess?
Table football,
Soccer.
table soccer. Still, table soccer has this old type of business model. You insert the coin. If you go to Cus Caldonazzo, they have this table soccer. You put the coin, 50 cents, and you play table soccer at Caldonazzo Cus premises. So paper play. Then there is the evolution. It comes out the first Sony PlayStation. So you rent, trade, or buy and use. You rent the last super evil type of game. You bring it home. You keep it for 1 week. You defeat everyone, and then you bring it back. Or you like it so much, FIFA 2019, that you buy it the CD-ROM. You bring it home and you play as much as you want because you have the CD-ROM. Then another jump. Everything is online, so you don't need to use external media. Everything is online. You have free use. Battlefront, that is interesting. Free use, but if you start without even playing, without even paying. You start playing without paying. So you start playing. Oh, I like this game a lot. And then you want to access next level. or after the freemium time, you need to pay. Or you need to have credits. Or you need to have other leaves. Or you were defeated from others, so you need to buy to believe. Or, incredible, you get the super bazooka. And so they ask you a lot of money. It costs a lang, the super bazooka. So you pay for the super bazooka and you are able to defeat everyone. But you pay. You start not paying, but then at the end you pay the features, the extra features. So it's completely different the way. From pay-per-play to play free from some time and then a lot of money for the rest of the stuff. So this is an evolution which is interesting to see. On the business modeling, we are still discussing on business modeling. So now we move from gaming. In your opinion, what is necessary and sufficient condition for a business? You can tell whatever you like.
Have profit.
Okay, to have profit. Other ideas.
You need to point to a target of people that will buy your service.
Okay, you have to have customers. You have to have profit, you have to have customers. Other ideas.
The business needs to be sustainable.
You have to be sustainable. Okay? Also this is another idea. There are many. Creativity. Some creativity from the audience. What do you think is necessary to have a business? You raised your hand? No. I thought you were doing like that. No. Okay.
Yes, please.
Who? Please. Sorry, I didn't see you.
Something unique.
You have to do something unique, something that disrupts. Okay? Or
Unique means that different from the
different from what is existing. Okay, something new. Because otherwise, if everyone has this chair, then okay, it's difficult to sell it. Okay? Other ideas?
Or something better.
Or something better. Something unique or something better. You improve something or you create something new. Other ideas?
You should be flexible.
Flexibility. You should be flexible.
Still a plan, something that
Sorry?
a plan.
A plan. Okay. You need to organize yourself and have a plan
Organize, yes.
to have a business. All these answers are correct. There are many other correct answers. Okay. Please?
Goals and objectives.
An objective. A plan and also an objective, of course. A mission. A company has to have a mission. This we discussed last week. Other things? Well, I think we said quite a few. Other few seconds. I don't see other hands. So, in fact, a company needs a product, needs a technology, needs a vision, needs investors. Without money, you don't go anywhere. You need management, someone that is able to do company values. You need a strong team. This is very relevant for the startups, especially at the beginning. You need to understand the customer needs, so you need to have customers. This was said. You need to have a competitive advantage, so profitability, sustainability, money, business plan, also sustainability. But most of all, if we say that we want to open a startup or to have a business, the necessary condition is a paying customer. So that's easy, very easy. But a lot of people do not, they open startup, but they do not think about it. You need to have someone paying your game. Otherwise your game is super nice, but if no one uses it, you have simply a game, your own game. If someone is paying for your game that you design, then you have a business. There is a difference between having someone you like, having something you like, and having a business. And why I tell you that? Because if we look at the top 10 mistakes, this is taken from, first is, there are several sites that tells you what are the biggest mistakes of startups, which means why these startups closed. Okay? So, strange to say, the first absolute mistake of a startup or a startupper is that they build something nobody wants. They believe they have the best idea in the world, but they start developing this activity in long night sessions because they are also maybe university students, so they study during the day and do exams, and during the night they develop their fancy idea because they are sure that that idea is something that they believe is a need, is a real need from someone, but then they put this on the market, let's say, or they open a startup, and that product or that service is not sold. So this is the first absolute mistake which is done. We could call it a sort of paternalism in a wider concept. You are sure that you're doing something good for your son, but your son wants to be free. Okay? Second, team problems. You hire poorly, so the start is good, but then the team, there is someone who is not working enough good, which some sort of block everything. Lack of focus. You have too many. You think about too many customers. Okay, you don't focus as we on families and kids, but you want to cover the whole gaming sector, the whole gaming market. Then others fail to execute. Also, this is very important. You have a brilliant idea, but you are not able to bring it into a nice product or into a nice service, and other things. This is true for this statistic, but also for this one. But also for this one. This is CB Insights. It's another company who delivers statistics and market analysis. This I think is a bit older. Top reason startup fails, based on analysis of 101 startups from this company. This company, they make interviews. They are like sort of they collect statistics on business and market trends. First, this was an open question with multiple answers. So they asked to 100 closed startup, post-mortem startups. So all these startups interviewed were not anymore active, and they asked them, why of these reasons do you think your startup failed? For which reason? And they could give multiple choice type of answer. So if you sum them up, it's not 100. It's more than 100. Okay. So no market need is the absolute first. And so 42%, almost 1 out of 2 of the startup, they were developing something that were not needed, which is the same reason of the previous slide. Sorry. The building something nobody wants and having no market need is an equivalent concept. Okay, it's the same concept. So no market need, 1 out of 2. They didn't develop anything. They didn't develop a product that someone was willing to buy. So they were sure that that idea was very cool and nice and fancy, but at the end, the people didn't buy the product or service.
Sorry, but if it's a question that you do to the people that own the startup,
yeah,
they for sure will never say it's a bad the fault is of the idea.
Okay.
No, it's a projection of the fault. The fault is of the market that didn't want my idea, but my idea is bright.
Okay, let's say that if you reach this point, you have extra thoughts about from this. It's true. you tend to
So it's
you tend to give the responsibility to other things. But when you have a business failing, then you are a bit more conscious on answering. Let's say I think you are a bit more conscious on answering. But the no market need is also intended that if you build something nobody wants, means that maybe a chair, everyone will want a chair sooner or later. But if you build a chair which is completely unuseful, then you create something that the market do not want. Despite there is the need, the problem is there, you build something. So inside here there is also some problem of implementation. But the fact that you are so sure that that project instead is valuable is always to be verified. That's the trick of that. So we will see later. But it's like that when you want to open a startup, we always tell the startuppers, the founders, to validate the problem. Validating the problem means, yes, I need to sit, and everyone says I need to sit, and that's the first step. And the second step is validate your solution. So there are two reasoning behind this. First, you validate that there is someone that has the same need you have, which is validating the problem. And as a second step, when you have validated that half of the people you interviewed has this problem, this is we will see in a few moments, then you say, okay, I propose, if I make a solution like this, a nice chair with a big hole in the middle. Okay, then I don't see if there is a big hole in the middle. And then you don't validate the solution because there is a big hole in the middle. Okay, I made a chair which is bending. No, I don't like to sit on a bent chair. And at a certain point you say, okay, I made the chair where you are comfortable. Okay, this one I like. And in this sense you have validated also the solution. But what you say is true that maybe they say there is no market need. Here they were anonymous, so it's not, I mean, post-market is not.
What
Yes.
I meant is
But
that
still
it
is statistic.
subjective.
It's subjective, but still is a statistic.
Yeah.
Among, they could say on all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. The second one, run out of cash, this is also very important, is that at a certain point is also they could say, oh, I run out of cash, but maybe the product was not working, so you could say for all of them. I ran out of cash because I finished my investment. I was producing this nice chair, but at a certain point I could not buy any more the wood, and my company died. Or no right team, 23%. So team means implementation, runs out of cash. Here there is some issues related to those who made the company, because early planning is very important for cash flow. Then get out-competed. Also this is, someone else was doing something similar and they were faster than me. So their product is covering what my product is covering. But they came faster, so they started selling. Pricing, cost issues. So you have several. Poor product. So you can have several things. But these are things for thought. Things for food for thought. You have several ways why a startup failed. We talk about a business case, Xerox, which is interesting. For business modeling, Xerox business case is studied. Is in many literature and courses they use this business case. We are in the 50s, so quite some time ago. In fact, it was in that time photocopies were not possible, apart from using an instrument called mimeograph, or dry thermal process. It was like not like inking a paper, but it was like using a paper that became blurred on some part and not blurred on others. So poor quality, hard to archive, and if you put this type of thermal stuff is also on now tickets that they give you. And after 1 year, these tickets are no more visible. So that's the quality, the poor quality that they mentioned. Hard to archive. Equipment was inexpensive, but the money was made on supplies. So you could have this instrument, and you were paying, as is quite traditional of many business models, you were paying not the ink, but the stuff that you needed to make this paper, this thermal process. 90% of machine made 100 copies per month because the quality of the product itself was not that high. So the copying was not that common. This is the mimeograph. So, and this is what comes out. As you see, is a sheet almost blank, which has been thermally stimulated to become or stay white or become black. A lot of people around, so maybe not that easy to use. So the invention, in fact, of serography, which gave much higher quality and longer lasting type of output, so that the paper, you could see the photocopy, what was scanned for many years instead of having it disappearing in a few months or years. Was a patent filed from Chester Carlson in 1937. So the Alloyd Corporation and their founders, it was two people, they buy the patent and they create the first photocopy machine, Xerox, and they changed also the name to Xerox Corporation. So Xerox Corporation was once Alloyd Corporation, and they start selling in 1950. The problem is that they are super productive, these machines. They are same size more or less than the others. But the problem is that they cost 6 times, they are more expensive 6 times than an holograph, the one that I showed you before. So I pay this computer 1,000 euro, affordable, okay, or 500 euro, affordable, I can buy it. But if instead of being 1,000 euro, this is 6,000 euro, it's 6 times more. To buy that stuff, I think about, because for having a computer, I don't know how to use it. I don't know what I will use with this. And so, 6 times more expensive, the hardware 6 times more expensive than the other, but the cost per copy was about the same. So the paper that you use were not dissimilar, and also the inkjet. So all the big companies at that time there was Kodak, was already in place. Now Kodak is almost disappeared because of the digital photography. General Electric, IBM, Arthur D. Little were some of the first consultancy company existing. Consultants, they all concluded that this market for Xerox machine was not a good market. None of them invested in photocopies. So what happened? This is the first copy machine, who was then the Alloyd Corporation owner, and the two evolution of this machine. But this was the first one, where you put the paper, and when you put, and then it comes out from the other side. So this was the machine. They said what they did. Well, I don't want to. Anyone that knows what they did? What could they have done? What? Slide the project. Okay. You mean sell these as separate pieces? Be difficult. But just print or copy. Okay. Other ideas? Well, we should work on that. Is in the direction. Okay. I go. So what they did? First point. Identify high volume users. For example, copisteria universitaria. Let's imagine that at that time maybe they were not existing, but they went into the printing office of the university, where all of you goes and photocopy the books or your final thesis or whatever. So high volumes, 10,000 per day copies, I don't know how much. Or big companies like General Electric, Enel, they have to print all the invoices for all the customers in Italy, Telecom Italia, Wind, whoever. Not sell the machine for 6 times the price, but lease machine. I lease you the machine for 500 euro a month. Okay? Or even a lower price, because you are going to be repaid in the longer term. They were sure that the copy machine was working for a few years. 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Okay? 2,000 copies in the monthly are for free. Every month you pay this 500 euro, and you have 2,000 copies included. Apart from the lease, you as a customer have to pay extra for all further copies. So when you reach in 1 month 2,000, after that, from 2001 to 10,000 copies, you pay. So they knew they had a good product. The core was much more than the one sold before, so the thermal versions. And the convenience of using this business model of lending led to an average user making 2,000 copies per day. So in one day, all the high volumes user completed their base of free copies, and the other 29 days of that month, they were paying extra 2,000 copies. And for each copy, they were paying whatever was necessary to make those copies. And they made tons of money. And as these copies was the beginning of photocopies, where like all the administration is a copy of the record. So they started making a lot, and the quality was good. And so everybody started using it. Because it was very useful to have good quality copies, they discovered. And having good quality copies made the functioning of the organization better, and so they were making much more copies per day. Because for them it was convenient to pay extra money to Xerox, but to have the other workers, the good workers of the company, to have better working, what we say, not conditions, but better working tools. And this is a working tool. The copy machine is a working tool. So this is how Xerox became a dominant, the first camera, of course. This was not a sort of blue ocean. Blue ocean are those markets where no one exists, when you invent something completely new. They are called blue oceans. So you serve a market and no one is serving. Okay? But Xerox was the dominant company because it gave the chance to customers to make more copies. That was the trick that they did. You don't pay a lot. You have a machine at your home. And I'm sure that when it's at your home, you will use it. Who is using a similar approach nowadays? Let's say leasing or paying very few the basic fee and then taking a lot of Netflix, okay, Netflix, cloud services, something even more like say, and Tom, what do you have?
Dropbox to produce service that they use in the USA.
Dropbox.
Dropbox.
Dropbox. I don't know.
So they have a box in their phone and they can play with
using that to have favorable products.
Ah, okay. Okay, I didn't know that. Other examples? Who of you drink coffee?
I mean, it's not about coffee, but I was talking about
Virtual.
like to buy an Amazon Echo, you put
Amazon,
using
okay.
it, and then
It's okay, get extra money. Espresso. You need espresso. You don't pay a lot, the machine. But then each time you want to make a coffee, you pay more than at the bar. Okay? Because the pot costs huge money. Okay? While the hardware itself is affordable. You can pay 30, 40, 50 to maybe 100 if you get this super machine. And then you pay tons, you pay land. Okay? So, product innovation, and the trick to make a very high volume both on maintenance of those machines, of extra copies, on in whatever was needed to make it run. So now the printing machines are very, the photocopy machine or the printers are very low, but all the inkjet that you need is very expensive, typical of all the printing machines. Then they add the duplexing, so you could print on both sides, another technical advancement, collating, stapling, so putting together, having the possibility to put together the papers, then it comes out the book. Copies per minute, they increase a lot and they made big version of the company. So this was for industrial use. They make hundreds of copies, thousands of copies a day. And on this, they increase their market. So starting from big companies having a lot of high volume users, what they call high volume users, then moving to other types of users. So, as a summary of this, I think it is worth to have this observation. So if you're able to find an unmet need, so something that the public, the audience, a business organization, or a private user, a private customers need, if you're able to address the need, because the need exists, you have to verify that the need exists, then you can build your business around it. And this is what Xerox was effectively. They identify an unmet need. Organization need to have a lot of photocopies done in a good quality way, and then they find a way to insert their business inside that need. And was very successful. Xerox, as Elena told you in the last two lessons ago, they are one of the strongest IP creators, one of the most successful companies for IP creation. They did a lot of patenting. And, for example, they invented the graphical user interface. And even the mouse is derived from their technology, from their inventions. So Xerox is a very strong company. Now they do consultancy, and this is an issue on business model. So they were very good in their first business model, but then along the years there were other newcomers that made good things, and they became very strong competitors from them. And now Xerox is working a lot on IP production still, and they are also a consultancy. So the business model innovation, we have other examples that we already discussed, so I could not go for other examples now. We will see later on. We go on break. We discuss about Nespresso in a few, and in 5 minutes we come back. Okay?
Okay, we start. We need to make a change of computer because mine is not putting out the audio, but we start with the discussion. So, if we discuss about type of business model, you see several keywords here. You have several also here aspects or concepts to consider. B2B, B2C, C2B, B2G, C2C. These are all acronyms that are used to understand to whom you are selling. So who is your customer, or who is your user? This in particular is for saying who is your customer. So who is paying you? We will see that there are, for example, in the case of Google, the customers are not the users, because those who use Google are not those usually that pays Google. Okay, so that is the we call it the interaction model. Very bad type of writings. Okay, let's talk about a bit the interaction models. If we start from a first basic type of interaction model, we have the so-called library model, which is there is a provider, the library itself, the municipality. They have a space where you go and they give you a service to you as a user. So you go there and you can use the book there. In this case, we consider a difference between a basic provider user model from a commercial one, where you have a provider and the customer. So the difference between a customer and the user is that usually the user is considered someone paying or not paying, while the customer is someone paying. Okay? And that's why you have a difference that I was telling you, for example, on Google. Or the same model is used from Facebook. They are the providers, and you are the user, but someone else is normally the customer. So who is the customer? Question is for you. Who are the please?
The one who pays for the service.
One who pays for the service. So some example, if you can tell us.
Marketing company.
Marketing companies. So for example, L'Oreal or Electrolux, they pay Google because they get data. What do Google sell to them?
Visibility.
They sell visibility, analytics, information of prospective customers. So basically, Google and Facebook sells your data, sells our data, not the personal data of me as Andrea Guarise. They should not, I doubt, even if there are still doubts. But they sell aggregated data through analytics of an audience like you. People at the first or second year of a master's school or university student living in northeast of Italy, interested about gaming. So that's a customer target for L'Oreal. Well, maybe not Electrolux. Maybe for, I don't know, what product do you buy? Tobacco, I don't know. Okay, so they sell your data and the tobacco company make advertising. Or they can track you through the cookies. So that's a different type of interaction model. The typical one of provider customer is the public transport. A public transport company works like that. You buy the bus ticket and you get the service. You buy the ticket and you receive the transportation service. Or Fiat Chrysler. You buy the car and they sell you the car and you get the car. That is a pure product based. A difference between this and this is that this is considered B2C, so the final customer, the customer is the final purchaser, is the large audience, so the people, the population are the buyer of this. The public transport is sell to a person, a physical person, let's call it, okay? Here, a provider sells to another sort of provider. This is called B2B. So you don't sell to a private person, but you sell to a company, which is we saw last week, the company is a legal person. Okay? So B2B, you sell to a legal person. B2C, you sell to a physical person. Saint-Gobain, they produce glasses. They sell glasses to FCA. FCA put the Saint-Gobain glasses in front of the car, and they sell the car. So Saint-Gobain sells to a business, which is Fiat Chrysler. Fiat Chrysler sells to one of you who buys the new Punto. Or maybe you want to buy another type of car. Salesforce, any of you know Salesforce? We named in the class. So what do? They do
customer relation management platforms, customizable, and they sell to other business that they can customize it and use the internal process.
Exactly. Imagine you are a company like Armani. Okay? Armani clothing. So Armani has a group of people, the sales department, a group of representatives, they go to shops to sell. Maybe Armani don't even use this type of approach. But in general, that's the normal business approach. So these sales representatives, they go throughout all Italy and they search shops who wants to buy the product Armani. So that Armani sells to this shop, B2B, and so this shop then sells to the final customer, which is you. So this sales representative, they can use a product from Salesforce in order to understand how to better face all the shops. So the sales department use a lot Salesforce in order to plan and then execute the sales strategy. Okay, that's how they do. Another interesting one is this: Amazon or eBay. Here there are a lot of stakeholders involved in this interaction model. In general, who are the users or customers? Physical or legal? Physical. We are the typical customers of Amazon or eBay. But what we buy, is it from Amazon or from eBay? Typically not. Sometimes yes, if we buy Alexa from Amazon. But most of the products that Amazon sells are products from shops or from manufacturers. Okay? If you buy the Kindle, then you buy something from Amazon. But if you buy another e-reader, that's typically not from Amazon. It can be Sony, it can be, I don't know, what other brands. And so, they are the providers of a platform where user meets providers. They simply make available a platform where demand and offer, a typical e-commerce type of approach, demand and offer can meet together. And if I find a new swatch that I like, which is yellow with black on top, I buy the new swatch watch. And so I use this as a platform where I can buy things. Okay, that was another version. Airbnb, another interesting one. Briefly, who can talk about Airbnb? Who is the customer? Who are the two customers of Airbnb?
The people that want their house to be rented and the people that want to rent the house.
Exactly. So, in general, Airbnb, in the origin, Airbnb was a pure, let's say, was a platform for putting together the so-called C2C, customer to customer. So, in my flat, I have a free room because I don't know what, because my son went to the university, so I have a free room. I don't know why. Or I am in a student house and I have a free room. There is the coach in the living room. I am a physical person, I am a private person. I put it online on Airbnb, I make a lot of nice pictures, and so someone else wants to come and visit Trento, so they will book my room. And this physical person, this customer is another physical person. So originally Airbnb was C2C, a physical person renting a room from another physical person. After a while, Airbnb became very famous, and so now a lot of B&Bs, normal bed and breakfast, or even small hotels, not the big ones, they used to place their rooms, small hotels used to pay their rooms on Airbnb, so this customer can be even now a legal person, so a company, a business, okay? But originally it was more like private to private. So Airbnb allows from normal people to share their location with other people who are coming. They make money both from the customer who rents and from the customer who is renting. So both who gives the room and the other guy who takes the room. Okay? So they take fees from both of them. And this covers most of the interaction model we have. In the digital world, these three are more and more evolving, let's say, while these are more in the, say, more old economy, if we can say that. Okay, there are tools. There are important tools to do business modeling. We will concentrate only on one, but we will see a bunch of them. This one is called Business Model Canvas. Any one of you who ever heard about Business Model Canvas, raise your hands. Not too many. Is the most known business model tool nowadays used, let's say, not in academic literature, but from real startups. It's very useful. We show you a video, which is very nice also to see. It's a 2 minutes video, so very short, but in 2 minutes it explains how the business model Canvas works. It was developed from a PhD student from Vienna. During his PhD, he did this tool, and it was very, very successful. And a lot of accelerators, incubators, or people who work as startup business coach, they use this tool. So it's interesting to see. That's why I asked Massimiliano to take over the video, and let's see if we are.
Which is not working always.
L1 e L2. No. Cos'è, una questione di hardware?
No, proviamo dal tuo senza audio, mettiamo i sottotitoli.
Facciamo che tu lo fai andare l'audio e io il video. Vediamo. Sì. Vediamo se la facciamo. Allora. We are trying an experiment. Aspetta che torni indietro. Fallo andare anche tu. Prova.
Non si vede, sai come.
3. Ah no, aspetta.
Looks like you will hear the audio from my computer and the video from his computer. Never seen before.
Never seen before. Let's see if we are able to do. 3,
Sì, dai.
2, 1, vai.
It's kind of magic.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to each customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities you require to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business model. But it's not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a pre-structured canvas. This is what we call the business model canvas, a tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and invent new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. This includes simple users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. Channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. Customer relationships outline the type of relationship you're establishing with your customers. The revenue streams make clear how and through which pricing mechanisms your business model is capturing value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. Key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Then once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. So with the business model canvas, you can map out your entire business model in one image. This works for startup entrepreneurs just as well as for the most senior executives.
Okay. Okay. It worked. I never believed, but it worked. So this is the business model canvas. We only there is something there which I don't know what it is, but okay. We only show it here. I only show it here. There are other models I will tell you later, but we don't go too much into details. This is something that, if you like and if you have the chance, maybe you will see much more details if you go to a course which is really elaborating on strong business, let's say, on maybe for a startup this is used. But it's important here to understand that there is a right part which is also called the value proposition canvas. There is a canvas in itself that takes this part. And for those of you who are expert on UX, user experience, or human-machine interfaces, or user-centric design, is something that you should know. It's an elaboration of the user persona. So you identify not only a segment of customers, but a specific customers, and you try to design your value so that it answers to the requirements of that specific user. For example, an elderly people of 60-year-old who just went on retirement. Okay, that is a persona. Here is more at higher level because you have to consider both the value proposition part, what you offer, who is your customer, how you maintain relationship and how you bring value to the person, to what you are doing to develop such product or such value proposition, with whom you are working, what activities you need to do this. To do this chair, you need to have a wood cutter and a laser to cut the pieces of iron, and then a person that assemble everything. Okay, so that the key activities or the key resources, how much money you need which infrastructure you need, the cutter, the laser cutter, or the molder, whatever. Below, there is the financial part. So what you expect to get out of selling your product or service, and what you're going to spend in order to produce from this part, in order to produce your product or service. So this is in summary. You can even check with the links that I send you, with the links that are in the slides. If you're interested, there is it's nice. This is a nice tool to know a bit more, and you can deepen the study there. So well, this is the value proposition canvas, as I told you before. One part is the value proposition, and the other part is the customer segment. Usually, what you do is that you start from the customer jobs. So what the customer is requesting to your product, let's say, what are his pains? I go home and I cannot switch on the light because I never find the interruttore, the switch. Okay, solution, I make a voice recognition system, which I enter home and they say light on, and the light on. Okay, I have solved the pain of the customer. This is pure imagination, but pain relievers. What my product does to solve the pains of the customer. These two parts of the value proposition canvas are the most relevant, because this is where the more you relieve the pain of the customer, the more money you make. Okay. On these people of you who like, maybe they can deepen also this customer exploration map, another way of some sort of mapping the analysis of a business model. Melt frame canvas, there are several, there is a lot of literature on this. Another way to map material, resources, effect, needs. A bit more complicated. If you're interested, you can deep it up. But these are in the presentation. This is from Professor Filippas, who is the professor of this startup lab course that I was telling, also called Business Development Lab, that I was telling you before. Is on the second semester. Use some sectors to understand the business model canvas, because all the sectors represent one of the aspects that we were seeing before. The business modeling has several aspects to consider. It can be financial part. It can be planning or competitors. It can be supply chain, sales, several segments. This is another way of analyzing. This is another tool for analyzing business modeling. Another important part is what we discussed with you before, which is the link validation. Link validation is this process that more and more startups are using, especially in the digital domain, because it's like that you want to test if really the customers have the problem that you think they have. Okay? And so, with this link validation method, you are able, usually this is done in workshop of 2 days, 1-2 days, you are able to try to interview some potential customer and ask them if the problem that you think they have, which would be the problem that your solution try to solve, is really felt from the customer. And once the problem is validated, you are sure that that problem exists until a certain extent of customers, then you start developing your solution, and you should be sure also that your solution has some sort of validation. So you should propose to your customer, okay, you have this problem. If we solve it in this way, is it good for you? And so, on the basis of they have a problem, my solution could be useful to them, you start developing the solution. Usually this is done from design something, you have an idea, you design an MVP something, you measure if this design you have is useful, and then you learn if, by statistics, I interviewed 50 people, 5 told me it's okay, 45 told me it's shit, it's not working. then validation is so and so. If 25 tell me it's okay, and 25 tell me I'm not interested, half of the people are interested, then okay, this could be something useful. This is the Javelin board, which is the type of canvas that you use to do the lean startup validation, or the lean validation. We use it. So you decide the customer, you validate the problem, and you validate the solution. So this is the order. You always identify a customer, you check if they have the problem they say you think they have, and then you propose them a solution to their problem. And then you should arrive to a solution which is a bit more, has more chances to be successful. Okay? It's not saying that it will be successful, but it will start with more ground. Okay? Waterfall approach versus lean startup agile methodology is a concept that is very relevant here, because our focus is some sort of entrepreneurship, let's say, startup business, and they, especially those in the digital domain, they always try to follow this approach, this lean startup or agile approach. So they do not implement the whole back-end and front-end. What they do is they start making some modules with some working back-end and a lightweight type of front-end, and if the front-end is appreciated and people start using, any issue?
Oh, no, fine.
Okay. If the front-end is working, then they keep working on that. So they do the so-called agile methodology that I think you know more than me. The waterfall approach in practice it was the old way of doing projects. For example, this is still used, let's say that you have to make a new car. You have to design the new punto. To design a new punto, you start 5 years before the design, the concept of the new punto starts 5 years before the out is in the market. So if you see the last Panda this year, it means that the design of the last Panda, Fiat Panda, was done 5 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago. But you have all the conceptualization, the design, you have to do simulation, then you start making the first prototypes, then they don't like the first prototype, they do new, then they make the first demo, the first prototype, and after 5-6 years it comes out that the final car is ready for the market. Okay? And this is the waterfall approach. For some type of products, you still need to use that. Okay? While if you are working on digital, better to stay lightweight, and to try to move as soon as you see good feedback from the market, from the customers. Okay, sorry, I went back. More business modeling example. Let's see them. Well, iTunes was quite a good revolution of business modeling. They were able to do that because Apple at that time convinced the music major to jump on board this initiative. It was not the first type of electronic music device. In fact, MP3, Napster. Any of you heard about Napster? Okay, Napster was already in place, but Napster was not really legal, let's say. While the good thing of the change in business model that Apple was able to do is to convince all the major to jump on board this platform, because their intellectual property rights were better. It was more defensive for their intellectual property right than the MP3 versions. There was a lot of piracy on them. So the big change was the business model, and the fact that behind Apple there was all the big majors of music, Sony Music, whatever. Rolls-Royce is another. Well, we talked about Nespresso. Similar to Nespresso, there is also Gillette. Gillette makes this piece of stuff inexpensive, but once you have to buy this change, you pay more than the original one. But in the original one, you have like 2 of these, if you buy the recharge, the exchange base, you buy 5, but you pay tons of money. So this is inexpensive, but these are very expensive business model. Nespresso the same. Machines are not that expensive, but pots are super expensive. An interesting one is, okay, well, this is Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble is the owner of, like, Dixon. Well, I'm not sure if it's Dixon or Dash. They are a consumer product company. Here they try to get the creativity by outsourcing, collecting ideas from their customers. They had a platform to collect open innovation. So they were saying to their customers, which new product would you like to have? And on top of that, they were trying to design new product. This is something that I think didn't bring that big innovations, but this is a new way to try to conceive new product. Rolls-Royce, interesting one. This is they are making engines for the airplanes. So they make the jet airplanes. All Airbus and most of Airbus and most of Boeing, they have Rolls-Royce. So the normal cost of an engine would be a few million euro. What they do is that they don't sell the engine for 10 million euro or 50 million euro, I don't know. They rent instead the engine in number of flying hours. So I give you the engine, you pay me the flying hours that you make, and inside this renting there is the working of the machines and the maintenance. So every 1,000 hours I will come with my technicians and I will fix everything. But you don't need to pay 50 million euro in advance, you Boeing, but you pay me €500,000 per month. And in that you have working hours. That's a big revolution in the business model of engines. It's similar to what we saw with Xerox. This is another interesting one. Indian hospitals, they are like having people paying. Indian hospitals are much cheaper than US ones. So they offer, for example, surgery on heart. It's very expensive to have the surgery on heart. They pay, if you make it in the US, you pay millions, maybe the cost. If you do in India, the expenses are much lower, so it can be half the price. So you pay half the price, but with their business model, you pay also the heart surgery of a poor person. So by going and being surgery from them, with lower price than what you would get in US, you get the surgery, a good surgery, because they are very good medical staff, and you pay with the amount you pay also the operation for a person in India who cannot afford it. Okay. Other people, well, also this is famous. Not successful, very successful. Just a change in business model and especially customer segment. Who are the customers here? Adults. Who are the customers here? Who are the customers here?
Teenagers.
Who?
Teenagers.
Teenagers. Kids. This big success, no one wants to have it. Okay? But the technology is exactly the same. They change the customer and they are successful. Final consideration. What is the most difficult competitor to beat? One idea only. The first to answer wins. Because we don't have a lot of time. The user. Who said? The status quo. All customers are used to do something regularly. And bothering them is very difficult. Make them change idea is very difficult. Why should I move to the iPod? Because you don't find any more CD music shops. That can be a reason. But it's very, very difficult to move a person to buy your stuff, because usually, most of the time, if you don't go into blue oceans type of market, you're selling something that is already on the market. And simply going from this chair to another chair simply because you save 10% is not enough. If you're at the university and you have to save a lot of money, then okay. Then maybe I take the chance to search for something else. But the status quo is very, very hard to beat. What's next? Today, I think at 5:30 there should be the... confirm me who goes there, you go there.
Actually, it's at 4:30.
It's at 4:30, so now?
Now, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, if you want to enter into the skill sharing group, there are two guys there. They can... Please raise your hand for 1 second. Okay, you can follow them if you are interested. Wednesday, no lesson, because there is graduation day. Next class will be next Monday, and there will be the first battle. Okay? First battle, so a big applause for the So this is to encourage the people who are preparing the battle. You have to do something magnificent. And the battle 3 preparation next Monday at 3 at this time before lesson. Sorry?
It's not Wednesday. The battle.
No, the battle is on Monday.
You told us it was the 13th of
Actually, to be honest, I guess we solved it with the critical minds. Yeah?
No, we solved
I
it.
had a doubt because somebody told that it was on Wednesday.
No. We need to do it on Monday for simple reason, because on Tuesday we have a lesson fixed there that cannot be changed. So we need to do it on Monday. Guys, you are the first, so some hard burden of you is expected. But you will do perfect, I'm sure of that. Preparation Battle 3 is at 1:30 p.m. On Monday, next Monday. We will send you the email to the people who belong to Battle 3. Because today we did for Battle 3. No questions? Stop. We can go.